Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Cerberus here at Dark. Whichever you're going to call me, I'm fine with either one. I got a question asked, how to reduce your tank output pressure to 550. This doesn't, I know some people say it's okay to leave it at 800 or 850. Everything that I run is at 550. I have a G5, I run it at 550. I run my Fusion Elite at 550. Yeah, there are some people that have an opinion that maybe 800 is just the best place to leave it because they go through this process of. But one thing I do have to say is when you're trying to actuate an ASA, they work better at 550. When you're trying to, there's so many little things as far as like reducing pressure. Yes, this is a funnel. This tank is 4500. Yes, I actually shoot 77 4500 by the way. Mine's a little bit bigger than 68. This is 4500 psi. The regulator is going to reduce it as a funnel. That's the way it acts like, just like on your OPR, on your Fusion Elite, or on your G5, just like an LPR on any marker. They're all funnels that reduce air and create a small funnel for it. But you have to understand that the output pressure going into it is trying to funnel. You can put a lot of stress on parts just by having an overabundance of output pressure. Yeah, some people say, it's okay to leave it 800. I don't think so. If an operating pressure of the marker is extremely low, I'll only be a certain number of psi above it. It does change your fill rate, like on your solenoid, things of that nature, but I find it to be better at 550, and I've been playing paintball since I was 15, and I'm 29, so like I said, if it works for me for that long and somebody else it adapts and they worked with it as well and they say it works for them, just use it. Some people's opinions are just opinions. That's all they are. That's all paintball really is preference and opinions. Anyways, so this is my 77 4500 tank. I do recommend getting a thread saver. This will save you in the long run greatly. Do buy one because all it takes for you to bend some of them threads and you're done. I do recommend you getting a shuttle valve fill nipple cover, and I use this cloth cover. I want to get an exalt one later, but eventually over time it'll be alright with what I got. Alright, so we got that off. You'll see it's within hydro. It's going to be on the front, so it's not going to be a problem. Now, how are you going to get inside of it? Every rig is going to be different. Like on this one, it has a bonnet that actually rotates. When I hold my tank onto my marker, this is actually always pointing up and this is always pointing it down. I've had it designed specifically, rotated it specifically that way. On other markers, you're not going to have that. What you're going to have is going to either have 3 or 4 screws around this bonnet at the top. What you're going to do is unscrew those so the head will unscrew off. If you have another series at the bottom, make sure you read the manual that's not a rotation, like you don't have a Pro VT reg like mine. If you have an Empire reg, generally they should be about the same how to get inside of them. I would definitely look into that and read the manual if you have one. Now, you saw me just take out one screw. This is going to be taking out the upper portion of your tank, so we can get inside and change the output pressure. We're going to take that one off, and then we're going to take this one off, just like this. Them down there. Then we're going to rotate this off. Make sure this is snug when you put it back on. And you take this off carefully. One thing I will tell you is make sure your tank is at 0 before you do this, because if you do not, you will be in big trouble. 2 ways you can do it is take your OPR off your marker or your reg and then turn on the ASA, and it will force air from the tank through the opening of the ASA. If you have a macroline fitting, you can take the macroline off and just have just the fitting, and then actuate it, the ASA, and that will degas it. Make sure this is completely degassed, because if it has any gas in it when you do that, I promise you, you will not have a good day. So anywho, please, one thing about these regulators, do not mess with how they are stacked. These things are stacked accordingly and specifically. See the way that they come out like that? Do not get this screwed up here. All these little springs. If you put it in there the wrong way, you will not be a very happy camper again. So we're going to put that down in there and be careful. Now, right here at the top, where's my little shim at? Alright. Let me me see. Those are stacked accordingly. Good, good. Those are all going to be held up by an O-ring on most of them, so they'll be fine. Where is... Oh, there it is. Sorry, y'all. There's my shim. See him? Ta-da! I was looking for a minute there. I was kind of confused. I'm like, I know he's before springs. Come on, get out of there. He's not agreeing with me today. No, you're not. Sorry, y'all. You have to give me a minute. Let me get a toothpick. Come on out. Get out of there, my little shim. There you go. Who's your buddy? Come on, get out of there. Where's your buddy? Come on. Well, I almost had it. Try not to touch anything inside your reg as well. Definitely do not want your fingerprints, anything to draw oil. If you're poking something inside of it, be careful with it. Come on now. Yeah, good boy. Let's do it like this and have gravity to help us, right? Come on. I'm not going to hit that rag down there because that's a super light rag. It will not be very happy. You are not an agreeable boy today, are you? Ways with dealing with people like you. Me. Oh, come on now. Be nice for the people on YouTube. When I get this out, I'm going to be so unhappy with you. Bingo! Got it. Sorry, y'all. Let me have a screwed up video for once. Ta-da! That's your shim. Viola. Now, on your marker, you will have maybe 3 or 4 of these little guys. You'll need to read your manual to see how many it takes to make the output pressure that you need. On this rig, all you need is 1 because it goes from 450, 550, 700, and then 800. So just keep that thought in mind. And now I'll tell you what, I'll put it back together. We'll put this little guy back down in there. Now he goes in there a whole lot easier than he does coming out. Okay, we have to be careful with this. Alright. We're going to go and put this back on the top portion. You don't want to touch a whole bunch of it because that's how you end up with some problems. There you go. Good boy. Screw that back down like this. Make sure this is on there good and tight. Don't use tools, use your hands because your set screws are going to set it into place. If you have these super light rags, they're little bitty screws are very fragile. What you want to do is you want to do like that, bump that top one a little bit. Do this one the same way, bump it. I'll get in there. I gotta bump it just a little bit. If you overbore these, you'll never get them out. Overbore, what I mean, round off the Allen key. You'll have to use a small flathead screwdriver and try to get them out. Anyways, so what you'll do is you take the Allen key, put it in your hand like this, and you'll take these 2 fingers off like this, and you're just going to use these 2 fingers, and you're just going to bump it, just like that. That one's done. You're going to bump it a little bit because once it screws on, so this is something just to keep it from unscrewing off. That's all you're trying to do. There you go. And that's it. Now our tank is at 550. I'll show you if you need extra screws. If something happens, you can call Ninja. That's like I said, my tank that I use, and they'll send you little tiny screws if you have a problem. See, I got little bitty ones there. And then I have a shim. Those are my 2 shims that I have left, which make it 700 and 800. And that's about it. We'll go and put a cover back on it before I kill the YouTube video. Shuttle valves. I'll go ahead and mention something about that. Some people talk about shuttle valves having to take care of them. Do not ever put oil in the shuttle valve. The shuttle valve is where you fill up your tank at right here. if you put oil in your shuttle valve, it will explode once your tank reaches 2200 psi. So that becomes a veritable bomb. Just do not ever put oil in there. If you are going to do reg maintenance, the O-rings and such, just use simple lube. I use Pathogen Super Grease on mine. When I'm maintaining it, I would maintain it, about every 6 months or every season. Definitely do that, get in the habit of doing that. Buy, like I said, once again, thread savers. They're worth the weight in gold. Make sure you get one of those. And I really like this tank. This is one of my favorite tanks. I kind of want to try a few other little tanks, but it's kind of hard to get away from Ninja. So anyway, that's all I got today. Sorry for the delay trying to get that shim out of it. I was going to leave it in there and be like, hey guys, this is what they look like, but I wanted to show you where the shim was at. Sometimes it'll come off with that piston, by the way, so keep that in mind. But like I said, just that's how you take it down to 550. Make sure to read your manual on the tank that you have, or Google it, because all tanks will be different. If one of yours is it goes from 500 to 600, you can use 600 over 500. If it does have the happy medium of 550, that's what I use. If you have a G5, I recommend it definitely, because it will save the O-rings in your marker. Just keep that in mind. There are some players that play at 450. It kind of stars markers a little bit, in my opinion, from what I've tried to use it for like speedball, but like I said, to each his own on that one. One thing, like I said, paintball is a lot of personal preference on how you do it. Just find out what works for you and go with that. Anywho, so this is Dark. Adios.